Bants and Bants. Bants and Bants.
All systems go.
Bants and Bants.
Defiance.
Bants and Bants.
This rebel has a cause.
Bants and Bants.
We began as wanderers, and we are wanderers still.
Welcome, everyone, to the 54th live edition of Bombs and Bants and Wednesday Rants. As always, I'm your dedicated and humble host, John Wilder, coming to you from an undisclosed location hidden deep beneath the surface of the earth. With me, as always, is Mark.
Hey there.
And the missus.
Hello.
I still miss it when you used to talk afterwards and I would talk over you.
I know. That was so funny.
I didn't say it was fun. I said I enjoyed it. How's the week been, everyone?
So funny.
It's been good.
I forgot to warm up the soundboard.
Okay. So you don't have any annoying...
Well, no, I pressed the button, but it's just loading, which always makes for
Oh,
Yeah,
that's
I
wonderful.
Hey, that was only slightly delayed, huh?
Okay.
Film before a live studio.
Oh, Ricky, can't I go to the club with you?
I kill you.
All right. Oh.
Yeah, I never could figure that out about that show. Why did she always want to go to the club with him? It seemed like he was working, right?
Yes. Well, and I believe in several episodes she actually got to go to the club.
See, this is where you explain to me as the introvert that there are people who are not like you, and they do enjoy being in crowds of people. And I go, what? That's crazy, man. Oh, hey, I found a thing. I found a thing for you. Are you on the right screen so you can see it?
Not yet.
I'll get there.
YouTube is warming up as well.
We'll just sit here and do nothing. That's exciting.
Yeah. By the way, it's episode 57.
It is episode 57.
It's the Heinz episode.
Oh, don't bring Heinz up.
Ew,
John Kerry guy, yeah. Are you ready yet?
No, it says we're live, but I pressed on it and it's asked me if I want to do gaming, music, live, mixes, albums, Stevie Nicks, AC/DC, oldies music, stocks, podcasts.
How did Stevie Nicks get in there?
I listened to a Stevie Nicks song.
That'll do it.
5 days ago. Yeah,
that'll do it.
She's been stalking me.
Probably, I could see why. She likes younger men.
Which includes,
are you ready yet?
No, which includes 99% of the population of planet Earth.
That's true. Point. That's true. She is quite old.
Well, I have my other. Oh, and there we go. Just as I pull out my Think Smart box, it comes up and then proceeds to do nothing. All right, let's try Plan B.
You know what I love to tune into a podcast to hear?
People talking about things like that.
About how their technology does not work. Yes, that's exactly it.
It's scintillating conversation.
It really is.
YouTube Premium for only $11.99 a month.
And now you're giving free advertising to YouTube? What is wrong with you?
Well, it's
you go sit in the corner and you think about what you've done.
It's not. And now I got the message from...
Scintillating. What are we doing? I'll just turn my mic off too, and we can just all sit in silence.
But here's what's happening: is I'm hearing you yelling with a delay on, and it's.
If you were sitting in the corner because you've been bad and you know you have, you wouldn't have this problem.
Okay.
This must be like what the Russian army Zoom calls are like. You know, everything's on delay, and they're all wondering why nothing works.
Okay, there we go.
Okay, wait. He's almost ready. He's buffering.
I'm ready.
What does this mean is buffering? What does this mean?
On mute so I don't have to hear it again and again and again after a 3-second delay. And Jim
This
is on.
sounds like it's entirely a you problem. Go sit in the corner.
Okay, I'm on. I got the Magic Think Smart Box.
Are you ready now
Yes.
for the funny thing? I don't know if I should show it to you now because it's been built up all this time. And what if you don't think it's funny?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, well, here it is. It's a Star Trek joke. It's a visual joke.
Mm-hmm.
So those of you who are just listening will have to lean over and take a peek.
Oh no, Turkey's not third place.
Well, maybe if the contest was the baldest of the Star Trek captains.
That would be Picard. Yes. All right. Well, let's carry on. I don't think Janeway was that bald. All right.
You never know.
If you live in the St. Louis suburb of Florissant, good news. You might be able to read by the warm glow of your child. In August, parents at Jana Elementary, I think it's Jana or Jana.
I don't know.
I'm going with Jana.
Because there's
Jana.
one person I know who has a name like that and spells it that way, and it's not pronounced either of those ways.
Well, January. Let's go with Jana. Jana
Okay.
Elementary School in Florissant received a letter from the school district stating that the district had been notified in January by the U.S. Army Corps of Engineers that the soil sampling near the school's playground showed a presence of low-level radioactive contamination. Apparently, a nearby industrial plant processed a lot of leftover nuclear material for the government during the Cold War era. Chemicals in the contaminated soil range from uranium to radium to lead and mercury. But the U.S. Corps of Engineers says, don't worry about it. It'll be fine.
Oh, crap. I lost all my stuff. Where'd it go?
Well,
There it is. I found it.
The contamination is below the surface, low-level radiation, and does not pose immediate health or safety risks to the public in its current configuration. Any contamination posing a high risk or immediate threat to human health or the environment would be made a priority for remediation.
You should be fine.
And here's my add-on to that. It's completely normal if your child is 37 and in the third grade.
It's like
And
real life
has
Fallout.
3 arms. And as everyone knows, you can always trust the government. So that's that story. That's a lead. It's not the biggest, most important story in the world, but it might be the least radioactive place in the country.
I thought a radioactive elementary school was kind of a big deal. Call me crazy,
Well, keep in mind,
Good news! We're all going to die.
we were really afraid of COVID, but now we're welcoming a nuclear war. So, I mean, safety standards may have changed in the last 6 months.
That's true.
Well, it's all relative. I mean, is it actually more radioactive though than like the concrete they've used in the school, or argon gas, or I don't know.
Yeah.
Anyway,
Yeah.
Or whatever it is they make chicken nuggets out of.
the bananas they eat.
Yeah.
I mean, bananas have a certain amount of radioactivity.
Your children look positively radiant.
You're right.
Like I said, it's nice to be able to read by the warm glow of your child.
All right. Well, you're going to have to walk in the next thing, the missus, because
I can do that. Well, it is Halloween's coming up, and if you have trick-or-treaters around, and who doesn't if you live around humans, safety's important. But it really, how many hundreds of years have people trick-or-treated without the benefit of safety films to tell us how to trick-or-treat appropriately? If you will all tune in to your visual devices, I will start the movie, about which you may comment anytime you would like. All right, here we go. Nothing says inviting like the scary movie in the Jack-O-Lantern, huh? Tom's Rivers, New Jersey. Alrighty.
by Centron Company. All rights reserved. Centron.
There's one magical
Owned by
haunted
Richard
evening
C.
each
Clement.
year when all the scary creatures come out to prowl through every neighborhood.
That seems like it's looped. No, they're just all the same character.
But here's the scariest monster of all.
Your neighbor's
You know
kid.
why?
Yes.
The IRS. Adulthood.
But she's taking some frightening chances of being hurt. maybe badly hurt. Her costume is very, very dangerous. Can you see the things...
Remember how
she's
terrible those
actually-
little masks were?
She's actually
What about that
cisgendered
mask? She
and
can
doesn't
hardly see
identify
through those
as a
tiny
witch.
holes for her
Well,
eyes.
you haven't seen the kid
If you
without
were
the
wearing that mask,
yet.
here's what it would be like. You can see straight in front of you, but unless you have
It was
to
like I was
turn
the
your
murderer
head,
in the movie
you
Halloween.
wouldn't see that car coming as you start to cross the street. You could be run over.
And the car
And
just didn't even
unless you
bother to
look
stop.
down, you can't see that you're coming to a curb. Ow, that hurts.
Right into the
Bad
street
enough
you
to
go.
take a tumble on hard pavement, but it would be even worse to sprawl out on the street in front
And then
of a
you
car
have to
coming.
fight the neighborhood dog for your
Yes.
candy.
Crap,
Let's
that mask
imagine
is
that
almost
we're
as
in that
dangerous
car.
as people staring
Can
at
you
their
see
cell
her
phones.
clearly? Why not? What is there about her costume that makes
I
it
didn't
hard
know
to see
Hillary
her?
Clinton
As the driver
trick-or-treated
of a
that
car
late.
or truck, you might
Oh,
not
see
see
there,
her
we
until
missed
it's
that
too
joke.
late.
She's dressed as Hillary.
And that's really scary. Before we think about some ways
What's-
that the little witch could see and be seen better, let's
Witch?
take another look
Are
at
you
her
sure he didn't
costume.
mispronounce that?
Whoops. Down she goes again. It seems as if she's collecting more bumps and bruises than candy tonight.
Oh,
Let's
this
see
child
if we
in
can
gravity.
help her, shall we? And by
Not a
helping
friendly
her,
pair.
Maybe you can learn some things that will help you stay safe at Halloween. First,
So, this is
you
just
need
like
to
those
grab
commercials.
a
Don't put the plastic bag on
Start
your
this
head.
whole evening over again. One
This
of the
is just like
problems
those
with this
commercials
costume
on,
is that it's too
who-
long.
Oh,
It's
trying
too
to
easy to
pull
trip over a long,
pull a
full
paper
skirt.
towel off? That's just too difficult.
So we can shorten the skirt.
And Mom looks like she stepped off
You
a
should
bottle of
always
Breck
shorten any
shampoo.
skirt, pants, slacks, or cape that is too long or
Are the
floppy.
darkest as possible,
Now,
so they
the broom.
cannot be
That's
seen
a clumsy
by
Exactly.
oncoming
carry,
cars.
and it's something
Oh,
that
that's
you're
okay,
likely
because
to
our
trip
film
over
has
in
a
the
solution
dark.
to that coming up that is
It's
hilarious.
usually easy to shorten brooms. Or round off the sharp points of pirate
You know,
swords
my
and
family
other
had the
costume
same
parts that can
broom
trip you or
my
scratch
entire
you.
childhood until I moved out of the house. So I'm thinking,
Cardboard brooms and
Man,
her
swords
arms are-
usually
arms are
safer than
thin.
wooden ones. But it's safest not
I'll
to carry anything like
teach
that
you
in the first
Excalibur.
place.
You'll not be saving
Now,
England
what
anytime
else might we
soon.
change on this costume to make it safer? What about
Make
that
spatulas
color?
out of cardboard.
yes, it's too
Remember
dark.
how hard it was
How
to
can we
see the
make that
little
color
witch because
better?
of her dark costume on a dark night? We should always wear light, bright
Spray
colors
paint
on
her
the street
face
at night
silver.
so drivers can see us.
Make
What
sure you
about
use.
this color?
Oh, how about this
Coder.
color?
White
This
costume
white
makes an
costume with a
unusual,
pointy
different kind
hat.
of witch. Who's
Cover
more
her in
likely to be
radium.
safe on Halloween night. A good way to make any costume easier to see at night is to decorate it with reflective tape or reflective patches.
It's my
Some
first clan
costumes come
costume.
with reflective material already attached
Moms
to
are
the
no-
cloth.
Awesome costume. Now she
Here's
doesn't
what
look
it looks
anything like
to
a
car
witch.
driver.
Right.
It's easy to see, even on the darkest night. And while you're putting reflective tape on the costume,
Is she in training for the
you should also
KKK? I'm
add
just
some
gonna
little
ask.
bag or container you'll use to carry home
Next,
your
the face
candy.
mask comes on.
Some special Halloween sacks
Oh,
are
my.
treated with reflective
It comes with its
material when they're
pre-lit burning cross.
made. And it's a good idea to write your name, address, and phone number on the sack. Just
So
in
this is
case there
actually
is an
a
accident.
place, Dola, Ohio.
Now,
Population,
how
and
about
I'm
the
not
mask?
making this up.
Any problem
140.
with it? Do
America.
you remember how
Yeah.
hard it was to see out through
Ugh.
those little eye holes? To be safe at night, you have to be able to see clearly as well as be seen. We can improve the mask by cutting larger holes to
Yeah, I
look out.
realized when I was this age and my mom was putting duct tape over the eye holes that maybe I wasn't my parents' favorite child.
There.
And so,
That's
no,
better.
here.
But there
So
is an
spray
even
paint
safer
every
way.
exposed surface dark.
Yes.
You can simply not wear a mask.
Mom
Mom can
seemed,
take-
yeah.
Mom can take the
Oh,
fun out of
you
anything.
think you need a mask to disguise yourself? Well, just watch what you
Now
can
I understand
do.
why Jason
With
killed.
a little help from your parents and some scraps of cloth or old clothes from around
Because
home.
there's nothing that marks you as the
An
poor kid in
eyebrow
class
pencil,
like having a homemade
different colors
costume.
of eyeshadow, rouge, lipstick,
I
an
remember
old
those
wasp or
days.
wig, some wax
Oh.
teeth, maybe some clay and food coloring, and a few other odds and
Oh.
ends.
Look, he's Brian Blessed.
You'd be surprised what you can turn yourself into.
And certainly add in some flammable. I've been told that you're not supposed to do that.
John Wayne Gacy. And that's enough of that.
Okay, that's probably more of that than we should. Okay. All right. We know Halloween is dangerous, and that's enough. Well, I think we're coming back to Halloween a little later in the episode. Is that correct?
Probably.
Okay.
It seems to be a theme.
Well, the FBI recently released its annual Uniform Crime Report, and according to the latest data, there were 334 violent crimes reported for every 100,000 people nationwide in 2021. And want to hear the top 15 states for violent crime?
Do I?
Yes. Number 15 is Kansas, 14 South Dakota, 13 Nevada, 12 Montana, 11 Texas, 10 Oklahoma, 9 South Carolina, 8 Colorado, 7 Michigan, 6 Missouri, 5 Alaska, 4 Tennessee, 3 Alabama, number 2 Arkansas, and number 1 Louisiana. But does that number sound right to anybody?
It almost seems like perhaps someone manipulated the statistics to make it look like all the red states were violent.
Well,
surely that couldn't be the case. Is that the cue for Newsbot to start talking?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Newsbot,
long stretch of silence. Yes.
Newsbot, take it away.
The latest FBI report excludes 9 states due to insufficient reporting: California, Florida, Hawaii, Illinois, Maryland, New Jersey, New Mexico, New York, and Pennsylvania.
Yeah, and those would be the states with the highest crime rates.
Exactly.
Ta-da!
Exactly.
There you go. Let's just. Oh my, and again, so that means you add in those states, and then all of a sudden those states start to look a little bit average.
Well, and again, and we've discussed this before when we talked about the whole COVID thing. It's the way that you manipulate statistics, and I'm being serious about this, using per capita, right? Especially when you're taking a large population versus a small population. The small population of which does not have 100,000 people, but you make it so it's this X number per 100,000, right? So those are actual people when you talk. I know, but I'm making my case, so shut up and let me talk. No, you shut up and let me talk. I can mute you. I can mute you. No, here's my argument. No, because you're talking about actual people when you're talking about the big population. But when you talk about the little population, you're talking about hypothetical people. I know, statistically, it makes sense and it is a useful measure. But you know what it's really useful for? When you have those two uneven situations, it really helps the smaller population place look like it's much worse than the larger population place. And that's what they're doing here.
So moving
those numbers
along.
may be right, but those people aren't actually dead. No one was killed. One person was killed. Whereas in the big population state, those were actually 50 people who died.
Okay. So moving along.
See, Mark Mark wants no part of this argument. Probably wisely. Mark's like, I'm too busy for the podcast tonight. Gotta go. He's still being very quiet.
Well, yes.
Are you still there?
Because he knows math. All right. Being young is the prime time in your life to collect.
I know math too, but I'm not wrong about this.
To collect most of the stories you have, the ones where you almost died. 2 young men from Wyoming certainly collected one as they were out antler hunting last weekend. Were they hunting with antlers? No,
I think they were hunting for antlers.
Yes.
So they had no firearms on them whatsoever.
Yes. Instead of antlers, they found a grizzly bear.
That's not a grizzly bear, though. It's a picture of 2 wrestlers.
Well, actually, what they did is they found the bear scat, and then the bear found them.
That's not as bad as finding the bear cub first, though.
I don't know. If you've got a bear that is that protective of its crap.
Yeah,
that's true.
Leave my crap alone.
No,
maybe they're just all seeking vengeance for the whole Timothy Treadwell thing. So the guy who's in the bed here,
fortunately, they had bear spray.
They did, but it was in their backpack.
It's
Fat
called
lot of good
seasoning.
it did you there.
It's called bear spray is called
Yeah,
seasoning.
exactly. So the guy
No,
whose face is all mauled, the guy who has his arm in the cast there, who's standing, who is the less injured of the two, is the guy who was attacked first. And I'm not really sure which one is which because none of the stories I found about him really differentiated between them. So their names are Kendall Cummings and Brady Lowry. So we'll call them Kindley Lau Cummings.
No,
So Kindley Lau Cummings was attacked by the bear. It took his arm, grabbed him, and then the other guy, Kindley Lau Cummings, jumped on the back of the bear to save his best friend. Here he is talking about it.
It was a big bear, looked scary, mean, teeth, drooling, breath stank. It bit me on the arm and shook me around, threw me.
That's the guy in blue.
I've heard grizzly bears, kind of mean. You live up near around grizzly bears. How often do you hear of attacks there, Mark?
In Idaho, not very often, but there aren't, other than the north and sort of the eastern edge near the Tetons, there aren't really all that many grizzly bears.
Okay, so not that many, huh?
No, we're not. It's not like Montana or Wyoming.
Okay.
And like I said, it's different. It's up north, and then far east of the state's a little bit different, but not. I mean, like down where I am, nothing.
Okay. Well, the good news is they're both expected to make a full recovery, but now when someone says ask them, where'd you get that scar? They go, I was fighting a grizzly bear.
Who's going to believe that, right? I know.
Yeah.
Poor guy.
All right. But now we're into probably the scariest story of the evening.
Oh, crap. Something about Kamala again, isn't it?
No, the UK's Daily Mail stirred controversy by reporting that Boston University had engineered an artificial COVID variant with an 80% kill rate. The Boston Globe notes. The university has responded aggressively and noted its experiments actually made the virus less dangerous because it kills you faster.
We'll get to that in a minute. First, this.
Yes.
Oh, yeah. Ooh, that's how it always starts. But then later there's running and then screaming.
Yes. Do they ever learn? So here was part of the statement that Boston University said. It says this study is to better understand the role of spike proteins in the Omicron variant and was conducted by researchers at the BU School of Medicine and various other departments at BU and other schools. They continue. First, this research is not gain of function because we all know that's completely different than anything that has happened with COVID, right?
They're creating something that's very, very deadly.
Right. Meaning it did not amplify the Washington State SARS-CoV-2 virus strain, the original virus strain from 2020, or make it more dangerous. In fact, this research made the virus replicate less dangerous. This was a statement taken out of context for the purpose of sensationalism, and it totally misrepresents not only the findings, but also the purpose of the study. We're not doing this to kill more people. It's for science.
So that's crap. They took the more dangerous spike protein from the original variant, and then they plug that into the super contagious part of the most recent variant to make something that's both super contagious and more deadly.
Right.
As Quizzer notes, science.
Exactly right. What could possibly go wrong? Like Jeff Goldblum said, they're running and screaming. It's like these people have never seen a science fiction movie.
Well, it could be worse. They could send it to an overseas lab where, their idea of safety is to, go sell their bats at the local market.
Oh my. Well, there is a big trial going on this week. I don't know. Have you heard much about the Waukesha trial, Mark? I'm just wondering because we are hearing it from our news sources, but is it hitting the news much?
The what trial?
The Darrell Brooks trial in Waukesha. He's the criminal. So you haven't heard of it much then?
No, I haven't.
Oh, it's worth the price of admission.
It is. So this is a pretty significant trial because he only killed 6 people in about a minute.
Well, let's bring everyone up to speed who maybe aren't familiar with what this is. This is the guy, yes, at the Christmas parade.
This is the guy that ran down all those grannies.
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
Who drove into the Christmas parade. Yes.
and so for the last few days at lunch, we've been listening to that at lunch, and it's just, well, number one, you're getting instructions from the judge that really kind of illuminate trial for the non-attorney folks. But the other thing is,
it has been really interesting to watch. But I just have to think this judge just goes home and drinks a lot at night. Not to disparage her character, but just having to deal with this idiot in the courtroom on a day-to-day basis.
And if the prosecution asks a question, it's objection. And sometimes he has a good reason for the objection. Objection, relevance. And then
and what's the thing he keeps arguing with her about? What was it?
Hang on. So the first thing the judge will say, objection sustained, or and that would be that almost never happens to them. But when the prosecution objects to his line of questioning, she'll say objection sustained, and he'll go, grounds for the substain. and whenever the prosecution objects to anything, he says grounds, and it's amazing to watch. He is also got some sort of weird legal theory that the state of Wisconsin must appear in person,
and he's also claiming to be a sovereign citizen and does not recognize the fact that they keep calling him by his name, and he keeps objecting and saying, I don't recognize that name. And refuse to be addressed by it or something like that.
Just crazy. But you have a little clip from this. So why don't you...
It's not a little clip. It's a rather lengthy clip. I mean, you can jump in and talk over it anytime. Here's what's going on here. Okay, so we're in like the 12th or 13th day of the trial. All right, it started on the 3rd of October. And the first day of trial, he demanded that he appear in court in his prison garb instead of civilian clothing, make sure he looks nice and guilty for the jury. And this is a jury trial, too. And so he took his shirt off on the first and was shirtless in court. And so the judge had him removed. And then about 3 days later, he got kicked out of the courtroom again. This that we're going to listen to happened yesterday. And what's going on here, it's kind of noisy because the witness who is testifying only speaks Spanish. So there's a translator who is murmuring in the background all the time, translating for the witness. And here's the little exchange between Brooks and the judge.
Sorry, yes. Overruled. If we just wait when there's an objection. I'm overruling it. It's relevant. It's not leading. The witness's answers may stand.
You overrule every objection.
And the jury will disregard the...
And that's Brooks muttering back to her.
...by Mr. Brooks at this time.
Judicial misconduct and its findings.
And which leg was that, sir?
Objection, action, answer.
Overruled. You may answer.
What does that mean? En pie izquierda. My left leg.
Did you have to have surgery on that leg?
Objection, bleeding.
Overruled.
Sí. Yes.
And this guy on the stand is his witness, by the way. He called this person.
Dos. Two.
That's not going to work.
Mr. Brooks, you are advised to stop with the commentary.
No, I'm going to say what I want
You
to say.
called this witness. I'm going to take a break right now and excuse the jury and this witness.
All right.
What you're doing is judicial misconduct. Judicial misconduct. But you don't want the jury to hear the truth. That's not fair to the jury. They have a right to hear everything. I'm not finna sit here and let you fix the trial because you don't want to tell the truth to the jury.
Mr. Brooks, please stop.
No, ain't no please.
You are being disruptive. You are being disrespectful.
You always
The
going to
witness
find
may
some
step
reason
down.
to say somebody's being disruptive because they want the truth to be out there. Man, quit it. You're supposed to be the
Mr.
judge.
Brooks, I'm advising you that continued interruptions will result in you forfeiting your right to be present
and
in this
under what law and
during
fact can you do that?
Illinois versus Allen.
Okay,
sir.
but the fourth option that you made up, that's not even in the law.
Mr.
Because you
Brooks,
can't do that.
I need to make a
By law,
ruling.
you can't do that.
I need to
And
make
you
a
know you
finding.
can't.
All right, I'm going to excuse everyone. Mr. Brooks is being removed from the courtroom. He will continue in the neighboring courtroom. Please make sure he has his objection signed and a pad of paper.
So is that
he can.
So is that holding me in
meaningfully
contempt?
participate, and I will make a ruling when I.
So are
after
you
we
holding
come
me in
back up.
contempt?
Now you see why I think that poor judge has to go home and drink every night, because she just shows so much patience with him. I'm surprised she hasn't leapt over the judge's stand and beat him to death with a hammer yet.
Again, she's bending over backwards so that this isn't a mistrial and that it's not appealable. She's making sure that no one can say that he didn't have a fair shot at a trial.
And just for the folks who are watching, I'm going to switch from his stupid face and put up the picture of his victims with their names for the rest of the time that we're talking about this, because this would be hilarious if 6 people weren't dead. You know?
Yep.
One of them, an 8-year-old boy.
Yes, indeed. And again, Wisconsin doesn't have the death penalty, so he won't get that. But it certainly looks like to me he will get life in prison, because at every opportunity he digs himself deeper. Every opportunity. And so you haven't been following this one, Mark?
No. You know, after I realized what you were talking about, I've seen a few news stories here and there, but I haven't been following it in any detail.
Yeah. So again, I think as this trial goes on, you can see he's realizing that there's just no way out. But when you look at his rap sheet and his criminal record, and the number of times he's a multiple felon, but he would get felonies and routinely serve 30 days with no fine. He is just, and these are not tame felonies. I mean, I don't even want to go.
Well, and see, this is the ironic part about it is he's complaining that the jury isn't getting to hear everything, and yet his criminal history is, I can guarantee you, is not being divulged to the jury.
Oh, there's a good story behind that. Go
here's
ahead.
a funny, So I don't know how this one turned out, but he was being interrogated, and the prosecution wanted to show us interrogation tape, but they wanted to only show portions of it that excluded his rap sheet.
And they went through a very big back and forth between the prosecution and the judge, where the prosecution was saying, you know, several times he's opened the door so that we could introduce things that were ruled against in, you know, the pretrial stuff. And we haven't taken advantage of that. But if he chooses to play video, and while doing that, part of his criminal history comes out, we're going to take advantage of that. And the prosecution was just like, we want to be really clear. We're taking the gloves off if this happens. Mm-hmm. And so instead of just playing the clips the prosecution wanted to play from his interview with the FBI, he demanded they play the whole tape.
Oh,
now, I don't know if they played it the whole tape or not. But again, I don't know if he came to his senses or not. But absolutely, it's just been awful, just awful. And the judge has been very, very patient. And anyway.
And that's all over YouTube if you're interested in watching any of it. And they live stream it, and there are people who have compiled portions of it if you just want the smaller versions to digest. But
and I've got to say, if you're fascinated at all by the criminal justice system, this is just truly educational. Because again, the judge takes the time to explain it to him, so you understand exactly what she's doing and why she's doing it, and she describes her role. It's a very fascinating trial. But again, the guy's a dirtbag. I'm sorry, allegedly. No.
Yeah, an alleged dirtbag.
He's been convicted of enough felonies. That
well, you can kind of tell by the way he argues with the judge there. No one has ever in his life told that guy no.
Yep.
And meant it.
And
again,
all right.
unfortunately, 6 people are dead, and countless
Hey,
other
Quizzer,
people were a part of that, and he injured, a couple hundred more than just the 6 he killed, and.
Yes, 60 injures. Quizzer notes, if by fascinated you mean horrified, I'm there, and that's true. It this is a horrific criminal, and my big shame is, or big thought to the shame of this is that he's not eligible for the death penalty. But
but it is pretty interesting for those of us who aren't lawyers or lawbreakers, because this is just stuff you never see.
Yes, indeed. Well, let's go to a palate cleanser.
Well, surely somebody's got to know somebody that knows somebody that'll be in that prison with them that can, maybe cause an accidental.
The notes that I've read is that he will have no safe harbor in prison. There's nobody that's going to claim him. You kill a kid, and you're pretty much fair game. And he won't have the advantage of going to the child molester wing, because those people are preyed upon. So some of the people I was reading their commentary was, it's maybe not going to go really well for him in prison. Ready for a palate cleanser, guys?
I think it's time for that.
Let's bring out Neil Young.
No, it's not Neil Young time yet.
Oh, no. Oh, okay.
Oh, my goodness.
No, you're right. You're right. There's the big dash line.
Yeah. Do you ever even read the cue sheet?
Well, but the one is highlighted.
That's
Carry
true.
on.
You guys have a cue sheet?
I tried to give it to him earlier. I haven't been able to the last few weeks, and I told him to email you a copy, and he hasn't done it.
I never get.
How can I email something that I get a paper copy of? I can't email paper.
I can send you a digital copy of
You can scan it.
No, I have. It's a document on my computer. I can just email it. Mark, you'll have to give me your email, and I'll send it to you.
Well, she's never sent it to me once, Mark.
Because you live in my house, I don't have to.
Well, carry on. This is great radio. Let's go.
Oh, my God. All right. Well, it is Halloween, and that means new Halloween movies coming out.
Coming soon to a movie theater near you. A movie so scary, you'll hope it isn't real.
Ladies and gentlemen, President Kamala Harris.
See, short,
okay, I got chills on that one.
Wait. I'm sorry. That was the wrong one. Sorry, I gotta do this. It was not the right one. Here we go. This is the right one, I think.
Coming soon to a movie theater near you. A movie so scary, you'll hope it isn't real.
Yeah, this sounds like the right one.
Ladies and gentlemen, President Nancy Pelosi.
You know who I am. I don't know something weird must have happened to my computer, because that one is still not. This has got to be the right one, because when I saw the thing for this, scariest movie you've ever seen.
Coming soon to a movie theater near you. A movie so scary, you'll hope it isn't real.
Ladies and gentlemen, President Alessandria Ocasio-Cortez.
Oh yeah, baby. It's my jam. That could be the most frightening movie ever made.
No, they're all pretty bad. So are you saving that one that I gave you, or are you gonna ever use that one?
What about President Stacey Abrams?
I thought about that one. That was almost my third one, but I had the AOC song, and I was like, "That's my jam. I got to pull that one back out."
Hey, you could have used Dark Side of the Moon for Abrams.
That's true.
No, I think with Stacey.
What's blocking out the sun?
No, I think you'd have to go with a. This is really going to show my age. Take a. It's Fat Abrams.
That was pretty good.
Well, thank you. Oh, so okay. So, are you going to use the one I shared?
That may be next week. I need a little more time to work on that. So.
All right. So don't spoil it. Okay, I won't spoil it. Well, it's now time for Neil Young.
This is Neil Young.
Hey, get that jackass out of here!
And I'm proud to present my brain jackass of the week.
All right. Joe Biden was in Maryland recently to tout his many economic success.
That's the
and he managed to prove a big part of the problem.
Let me start off with two words. Made in America.
Yeah, that was almost as good as this one.
I was going to foot.
Oh wait, that wasn't the one I thought it was.
That's not doctored. That's a
no,
real
that's an actual thing.
Let me start off with two words. Made in America.
Oh, Joe. Corn Pop was a mighty bad dude. All right, person number 2 is Kevin Spacey. Kevin Spacey testified in a New York courtroom Monday that he had never made a sexual pass at actor Anthony Rapp, who has sued, claiming Spacey tried to take him to bed when he was 14, when the actor was 14, not Spacey. You may well recall when the story originally broke several years ago that Spacey came out as gay the moment he was arrested.
It was like the worst coming out ever, right? You're being arrested for being charged with diddling underage boys. I'm gay.
Yep. And now, since he's going to trial, his latest claim, his father was a white supremacist and perhaps a member of a party in was very popular in Germany.
A new member of that party.
Yes. Since there were no cameras or recording devices available for the Spacey trial, the Newsbot will give us some of the written testimony.
I grew up in a very complicated family dynamic. My father was a white supremacist and neo-Nazi. It meant that my siblings and I were forced to listen to hours and hours of my father lecturing us about his beliefs.
So that's what he actually said in court. And so, by the way, here is, I don't know if this is true or not. This is what the internet website told me, is that there's only one existing picture of Spacey's father. Are you ready for this?
Mm-hmm.
This is it.
Yeah, I gotta wait to see it. It's not up quite yet. Okay.
What a neatly trimmed small mustache he has. Yeah.
Spacey Uber-honest. All right.
All right, so there are our jackasses.
All right, so who's the winner there, Mark? That's a tough one, huh?
I don't know.
We have flummoxed Mark.
The socialist or the guy who complained his father was a socialist. I have no idea. I'm going to go with Biden.
Are you going with Biden? Final answer?
Yes.
I'm going to go with Biden was just stupid, but Spacey was self-serving, so we're going to have to split it and turn it into the judge, the missus. Who's the winner?
I'm going to have to go with Spacey on this one, too.
Okay.
Yeah.
Kevin Spacey, you are the brain jackass.
Yeah, well, again, it was like I get arrested, then I come out as gay. I'm on the stand testifying at the trial that I was arrested for. Oh, my dad was a neo-Nazi. That's why I'm a terrible person. Yeah, so.
My dad loved Austrian paintings.
And this has been Neil Young's Brain Jackass of the Week.
All right. Well,
Speaking of Germany, did you hear that story this week? Because I know we're getting to the rapid fire section. It was the granny and the Kaiser. Was that on your list?
No.
So you hadn't heard about that one? They arrested some cell of people who were planning to try and overthrow the German government, and it was Grandma who was like a ringleader of it, and they were wanting to restore the Kaiser.
I can see that. Works for me.
Yeah, this week in news of Germany.
Why not? Who had that for 2022? All right, so off to Think Real Fast. And the first thought on Think Real Fast is, Mark, safe, effective, and effective, or neither? Or suddenly? That's a push. Safe, effective, and effective, or suddenly?
What?
Safe and effective. What do they say is safe and effective? Or what
COVID
causes
vaccines?
Oh, she can't say. Yes, COVID vaccines are safe and effective.
Coronavirus. Every time you say it,
unless,
it brings Dr. Cardi up.
Or
they're not effective unless you're wanting to catch it, but
or suddenly.
Sudden heart failure from COVID vaccines?
Oh, that couldn't happen. We know that couldn't happen.
No, that's misinformation.
So which
safe
one? Safe
and effective.
Safe and effective, or suddenly?
Suddenly.
Are correct.
By the way, did you hear that the CDC on that are getting together? I think maybe it was even today to decide whether did they
15 to nothing to include it in the vaccination.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There are going to be a lot of states that aren't happy about that. We'll see how this works out for you.
All right. So the Rings of Power is over. I've seen several articles that say if it fails, it might be the end of Western civilization. And now the critics are in after the first season. Let's come out and say it. The Rings of Power was a stinker. Mark, seen it?
I watched the first episode, and that was as much as I could do without having to commit suicide.
I have seen many reviews on it, and based on many reviews, I'm not going to watch it.
I've just heard it was very slow and not much happened, and it just kind of fundamentally changed a lot of the characters from the original source material.
Well, from what I read, it got more offensive the further you got into it. So,
well, and what I'm talking about primarily about changing characters is that Galadriel went from this ephemeral, timeless, ageless, really kind of godlike creature from the books to, I don't know, this sassy, independent, single mom woman with cats.
Yeah.
Yeah. And that Sauron was painted to be the sympathetic character when, in fact, he was supposed to be pure evil.
Well, they were modeling, the writers were modeling him after themselves.
But I do have to say, full disclosure on this, is that I am not talking about this in any way, shape, or form that I am a huge Lord of the Rings fan. I stopped in the movies the same place I stopped in the books, and that was about 2/3 of the way through the second book. I just got to the point where I was like, this is just about walking. I'm going to go do something else.
Oh, yeah. What I learned, this shows what a nerd I am. So I've read The Lord of the Rings, I don't know, maybe like 7 or 8 times. But what I learned is actually when after the fellowship splits up, and so like half a book that's on one group and then half the book on the other, I started just using 2 bookmarks, and I would read one chapter from one, then I'd flip go to the other
That's
one,
not a
read
bad
one
idea.
chapter, and
Yeah.
go back and forth that way, so that there was more variety and everything.
Well, and George R.R. Martin got that way with the Game of Thrones stuff. It just got so where he had put his characters so far apart that the main characters weren't really interacting with each other anymore. And yeah.
It's sort of like the first rule of D&D is never split the party.
That's when you run into an ogre on roller skates with a flamethrower. No, our mage isn't with us.
All right.
He has
Moving
no
along.
armor anyway.
Moving along.
We're getting too deep into the nerd stuff, huh?
Yes, okay. John Fetterman, candidate for Pennsylvania Senate, or actually the Senate of the United States from Pennsylvania. Will he win, or will the parasite living on his neck win? Mark.
Even if he wins, he won't know it.
Misses.
I gotta vote for the parasite because I think the parasite really has more work experience than Fetterman himself actually has. I mean, at least the parasite can legitimately say, hey, I live off of other people because I'm legit a parasite. This guy, trust fund kid.
Okay.
So they're both parasites?
Well, I think
one's a parasite, the other one lives off his parents. Until he was like 40. And the first job he had was mayor of this tiny town. And then he went from mayor to lieutenant governor. And now he's running for Senate. He's had two jobs.
So he went from living off his parents to living off the public.
Right.
And all the while. And
again,
they're the biggest
two parasites.
The thing on his neck tells him that he gives parasites a bad name.
Oh, all right. Let me scoot along here. Bombing again in Ukraine. Is it nukes this week, or is that something for 2 weeks from now?
Maybe they're just showing the new Lord of the Rings series.
Yeah, you're saying it's bombing?
Well, first they have to find one that works.
The Russians need to find one that works?
Yeah.
Okay, I feel like I'm paying a pretty fair price. A New York man opens the door to his $1,100 a month, 95 square foot Manhattan apartment that has no toilet or kitchen and is only as wide as his arm span. My question mark. Who's in the wrong here?
Such an idiot!
I'm sorry, what? What?
My question mark. Who's in the wrong here?
Who's in the wrong? I don't. For him for writing that? That's what a window's for. He has a window in there, right?
No, but utilities are included.
Well, fine. I mean, it's New York. He can go down on the streets.
Yeah. Don't need a toilet.
Slip into the alley.
Mm-hmm.
Are you saying if he wants to change his mind, he can always leave the room?
No, actually, when I saw that story, my first thought was of the apartments in Tokyo.
Time to live in the pods. Is that what you're saying?
It is.
Oh yeah, I like that story we had about the people in China who literally live in dog kennels.
Yes.
Yeah, coming soon to an American city near you.
All right.
Back in the box. No one told you could get out.
Moving across the pond, Labour is planning on making misgendering a crime in the UK. And your thoughts, Mark?
I don't have it. I guess if I were there, I'd be like changing my gender from each person from moment to moment so that everyone would always be misgendering me, and then I could get everyone in trouble.
Okay.
And
and what would J.K. Rowling say about it, the missus?
J.K. Rowling would just laugh and scamper off to the bank with more cash in her cheeks.
Okay. All right. Let's see what else we have. Saudi Arabia was apparently going to build that city that was, like 100 miles long.
Neoma. Yep.
And they're planning on doing it. What are the political implications of that, Mark?
The political.
Do you think Tucker
I think
Carlson will
I
live there?
think it'll cause the apocalypse. It'll be raining cats and dogs, and ultimately lead to the entire destruction of the solar system.
I think you're right there. Good. All right. And I heard that we are entering the zone where some people are predicting 100% chance of recession. The missus, are they too low?
I think they're living in 3 years ago. Because recession, we there.
We've been in a recession since the second quarter.
Yeah. I mean, you can change the words all you want, and put your hands over your eyes, and no recession. I don't see any recession. We have to open your eyes first, or put your hands down. Something. Take the blindfold off, which will never happen. Not until after the midterms. Don't announce that until after the midterms.
So, Ring doorbells are being used to control and surveil delivery workers. So that brings up the question: is Jeff Bezos big brother? And do we love him?
I would say he's big brother, and I am completely indifferent towards him.
The missus?
I think he looks too much like a giant penis.
So,
and now there's some sort of Freudian implication going on there, I'm sure.
So
don't read too much into that.
Howard Stern has compared Kanye West to what kind of an artist?
The artist previously known as Prince?
No,
I don't know.
It's painting, an Austrian painter.
Oh, an Austrian painter. Oh.
I would have said the artist previously known as employed. I think that's what they're trying to do with Kanye.
Well, he's got $2 billion. It's not like that's a problem. Mm-hmm. I don't think that he can manage to lose that one. Tom Brady, will he quit the NFL in the middle of the season? Mark?
No.
The missus?
I don't think so, but I think it is quite possible that we are all just living in Tom Brady's 8-year-old boy fantasy life, and we're not actually real people.
And I think that is the correct answer, which brings up, we've been on the air for an hour, so it's probably time to say goodnight, everyone.
Is it that
good night,
time?
everyone.
Thank you for joining us on Bombs and Pants and Wednesday Rants. Went a little long tonight, but you know what? It was still a great time. As always, I'm John, your humble host.
I'm Mark.
Maybe next time we could just sit and complain about our technology for an hour. That would be fun to listen to. Hey, it worked! And we're out on time for a change. Bam!
Hit with the blast from your spice whistle.
Y'all come back now, you hear?